Have you ever wondered who the hell is this and who the hell is that? Well, you've come to the right place. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jay the Storyteller and I'm going to go through the story of the game Black Myth Wukong with you guys. Today we'll be focusing on chapter 3, White Snow, Ice Cold. As you can notice, this video is very long because there are a lot of things to talk about in this chapter. Because this chapter is deeply connected to the Journey to the West story. And this episode can really help you understand the story of the game and the Journey to the West itself much better. So please just bear with me and trust me, you won't be disappointed. Well, without further ado, let's begin. One day, the journey game arrived at a place called the New West. There was a grand temple named the New Thunderclap Temple. Wukong knew this temple was fishy because the name of the Buddha's temple was well known, the Thunderclap Temple of the West. And plus, Wukong had been there already. It sure as hell doesn't look like this. He said, there's nothing to see here, let's just keep going. But Tang Monk disagreed. There's a temple here, Wukong. We monks should at least go in and pay our respect to the Buddhas. Wukong couldn't convince Tang Monk. He knew this was meant to be, so he kept quiet. Unsurprisingly, Tang Monk was excited when he saw the sign. He was like, yo bros, we here. You bad monkey almost fucked up my mission. Wukong said, Master, please be careful. The sign said the New Thunderclap Temple. It seems fishy, there might be yaoguais in it. Tang Monk was like, nonsense. Even though this isn't the Thunderclap Temple, it must be related to the Buddha. Wukong knew this was a trial they had to endure, so he just let it be. Yep, that's what happens when you try to skip the tutorials.
Oh my god! Wow!
After they entered the temple, Tang Monk thought this was the real deal, so he bowed to every statue faithfully, just like Zhu Bajie said in the game.
Worship my hoof. Visit temples, kneel to figures, tell no black from white. That's my master. I am fed up with all these skin-deep rites.
Bro, you did that too. They even saw Z Buddha in the temple. As you can guess, he was CG'd. Just kidding, I mean he was fake. And Wukong saw through his disguise. It was a yaoguai, the yellow brow. Yeah, this fatty, probably the most special yaoguai that the game have ever encountered. I'll talk about why in a bit. The yellow brow tossed a gold symbol and trapped Wukong inside. Yeah, the exact symbol that trapped Bajie in the game. Of course, without Wukong, the rest of the game just got captured by the yaoguais. The symbol was a very powerful vessel that belonged to the Maitreya. It was completely impenetrable and Wukong couldn't break out from the inside. The celestial gods on duty reported to the Jade Emperor. The Emperor sent the 28 constellation deities to help them. So who are they? Let me explain real quick. The 28 constellation was a term in ancient Chinese astronomy. In ancient times, we divided the night sky into 4 sections. The north, south, east, and west sections. Each section contains 7 major areas, each with countless stars, and that major area is called the constellation. Together, they form the 4 sacred guardians and the 28 constellations. The 4 sacred guardians were Xuan Wu, the combination of turtle and snake of the north. The water element represents long age and steadiness. Zhu Que, the vermilion bird of the south. The fire element represents joy and beauty, as red is the Chinese favorite color that symbols good luck. White tiger of the west, the metal element, represents courage and strength, often seen as the god of war and conquer. Qinglong, the Cyan Long of the east, the wood element, represents majesty, power, and wisdom, and also symbolizes the whole Chinese culture. Not these fishermen we fought in the game though. I'll talk about their stories in future chapters. Anyway, in Chinese mythology, the 4 sacred guardians and the 28 constellations were all celestial gods. And the constellations were all named after an animal. And that's who they are. They are basically stars. Then Kang Jinglong, yeah, this pretty lady. Interesting. Anyway, in the novel, the genders of the constellation deities wasn't stated. So the images of them, are open for discussion. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I like this one way better. Anyway, Kang Jinglong suggested to use his horn to drill into the symbol and get Wukong out of it. After trying so hard, this is hilarious. The horn was finally in the symbol, but there still wasn't any gap for Wukong to get out. So he had to drill a hole on Kang Jinlong's horn and go inside the hole to get out. Damn, that sounds dirty.
Yeah, boy.
Anyway, Wukong got out. The first thing he did was to break the symbol. Of course, it woke up Yellow Brow, and the fight began. Yellow Brow was quite good. He could go back and forth with Wukong, but his minions couldn't match the 28 constellation deities. So Yellow Brow had to use the vessel, the human sea sac, and suck them all in. Yeah, this sac, another powerful vessel that had the power to suck everyone in and melt them. That's just genuinely cheating, man. And here's the reason why I said Yellow Brow was the most special Yaoguai. He didn't come for Tang Monk because he wanted to eat his meat, as most Yaoguais appeared in the journey called Tang Monk because they either wanted to eat him or to fuck him. Because rumor said Tang Monk's essence can grant immortality. But no, Yellow Brow wanted none of that. He wanted to eliminate the journey gang so that he could replace them and go to the west to retrieve the scriptures himself to attain Buddhahood. In a word, he wanted to be Tang Monk. That's pretty damn unique. Anyway, Wukong didn't get captured by the sack, and he sneaked back to get everyone out. But just as they were about to leave, they realized they still need to go back to get the luggage. The luggage was important because it had Tang Monk's passport. Yes, passport. We had that back in Tang Dynasty, along with other precious items, such as the Kasaya of Every Spark. And Wukong had to sneak back to fetch the luggage. Of course, that woke up the Yellow Brow. Then they got sucked in again, and only Wukong was able to dodge that. So he went for help because he couldn't deal with the sack himself. Long story short, Wukong got help from the Turtle General and the Snake General, but they too got sucked in the sack. Then Wukong got help from the third prince of Kingdom of Flowing Sand, which we talked about in last episode. He was against his father's Rodent Reverence Edict, so he left the kingdom and became a disciple of Bodhisattva Guoshi Wang to learn the skills of subduing Yaoguais. He brought his 4 captains to help Wukong, and they got sucked in the sack too. Jeez, stop feeding, man. Anyway, Wukong was frustrated because of the failures. Then he saw the Maitreya. Yeah, this little monk in the game. Now, please allow me to take a moment to explain who is Maitreya, because he's a very important character in Buddhism and in this game as well. In Buddhism, the Buddha is the supreme leader of all, but there were 3 of them: the Buddha of the past, the Buddha of the present, and the Buddha of the future. The Buddha of the past made a prophecy that his disciple, Sakyamuni, would be the next Buddha after him, hence the Buddha of the present. And then the Buddha of the present also made a prophecy that his disciple, the Maitreya, is to become the next Buddha. You know, the Buddha of the future. And that's who the Yellow Brow claimed to be.
Kneel before the Buddha of the future.
So it wasn't just a figure of speech, he really was the Buddha of the future. A very high position. He was also called the smiley face Buddha because he was always happy, merciful, and compassionate. He often appeared in children's form. Well, no wonder. You know, children are the future. A very charming Buddha. Anyway, the Maitreya told Wukong that the Yellow Brow was his altar boy, stole his vessels while he was away, came here to fuck around. Wukong was like, "You are responsible for all this?" Maitreya replied, "Yeah, well, it was partly my fault, but on the other hand, you still have more trials to endure. This was just meant to be. But since I'm here, I'll help you on this one. Here, give me your hand." Then he wrote down a character on Wukong's hand with his saliva. Ew! Nah, he was a Buddha, his saliva was magical and precious. But still though, ew. In the game, he helped us, the destined ones, the exact same way, but with watermelon juice. Hey, where's my Buddha saliva? That's a lot of money, man. Anyway, Wukong used the spellbinder and successfully lured the Yellow Brow out into the watermelon field as they planned. Their plan was to trick the Yellow Brow to eat the watermelon that Wukong transformed into. Obviously, the plan worked, and Wukong was fucking shit up in his stomach. Then Maitreya showed himself, so Yellow Brow just begged his master for mercy. So Maitreya just asked Wukong to spare Yellow Brow's life. He took back his vessels so that the gang can be on their way. And that's the story of the New West in the journey. And now back to the game, Chapter 3, White Snow, Ice Cold. The first boss we've met was the Macaque Chief. He is a monkey from Mount Huaguo and was a chief serving the Monkey King, Sun Wukong. But after Sun Wukong died, the monkeys on Mount Huaguo don't end up well, as Sun Wukong had a lot of enemies. The Macaque Chief was one of them. He fled from home and endured a lot of sufferings until he met Yellow Brow. Yellow Brow offered to help to remove the evil cursed wings on his back. Then he said, "The reason of your sufferings was because you lacked power, and I can help you to seek power." So the chief looked back to his sufferings, chose to bend the knees, shedding tears. And he did get powerful with the help of the human sea sack. I believe the sack was enhanced by the power of Sun Wukong's relic, as it didn't have this function back in the journey. And also, I believe the function of brainwashing. This is really sad. We killed the Macaque Chief as we were literally family. This is fucked up. Anyway, let's move on. Then we meet the Keeper of the New West, an ugly-ass bird. This keeper is quite interesting. The Celestial Court usually select local plant or animal guys to be the keeper, but this one was the winged deity. That's why he appeared as a bird, a very ugly one by the way. But he sure was helpful. There was no telling if he was good or evil, as he took us to where the relic was. But he also lied, telling us that the lure was away, while this motherfucker was clearly right there. You fucking bird, you set me up. And this time, clearly Yellow Brow not only stole his master's vessels, he also stole his master's identity, as he appeared as the Maitreya. Then he sent the beautiful, elegant Long, Kang Jinglong, to stop us. Now that we know who is Kang Jinglong, one of the 28 constellation deities of the Celestial Court, he helped Wukong a lot in the journey. Of course, in the game, it's her. So what happened? Why is a celestial god serving Yellow Brow? Well, for the starter, one day, one of the 28 constellations, the Dawn Star, aka the Mao Ri Rooster, went missing. Yeah, this chicken. We'll talk about how he ended up like this in the next episode. As the Dawn Star went missing, Kang Jinglong volunteered to go look for him. There were rumors that said the Yellow Brow returned to the New West and was holding a series of grand ceremonies. So she went to the New West because she thought that maybe the Yellow Brow was behind it. Well, at least that's what she said to the court. In her portrait, we can learn that she was actually a secret admirer of Sun Wukong. That's why she came to the New West. You know, not because she wanted to find the Dawn Star, but because the Yellow Brow had one of Wukong's relics, and she wanted to know more. And Yellow Brow knew that she was here because of Wukong. So he did what he did best, you know, persuasion. He said to Kang Jin Star, "If you really want to know about him, I'll show you." Then he let Kang Jinglong get into the sack. And this is why I think the sack had the ability to brainwash, because Kang Jinglong saw something in the sack. Then the heroic image of Sun Wukong in her mind just collapsed. As she said, "Is he, along with all the gods and Buddhas in the celestial realm, all like this?" After a long silence, the Kang Jinglong finally knelt before Yellow Brow. "Master, please take me as your disciple," she said. Now this is really interesting. We don't know what Yellow Brow showed her, but clearly it was some dark shit involving all the gods, Buddhas, and even Wukong. Seeing such dark truth, along with the brainwashing power of the sack, Kang Jinglong broke down mentally and started serving the Yellow Brow ever since. Here we can take a wild guess. All the gods, Buddhas in the celestial realm preserved their immortality by absorbing the wills, in other words, the souls of the mortals. Yes, immortality was based on mortals' lives. That's why the will was a widely used currency. Yo, this shit is fucked up. And that's why Sun Wukong gave up his Buddhahood to fight once again. Not only for his freedom, but also for the innocent mortals. Now that is true hero. But anyway, that's just my theory. We'll talk more about the hidden truth once we go into more chapters. So the guess is that Yellow Brow showed the Kang Jinglong part of the truth, and with the power of Wukong's relic, it was enough to twist her mind, and we had to fight her in the game. Personally, I feel very bad going into this fight after knowing her story. She better not be dead, Game Science, or I'll unsubscribe you on TikTok. Poor lady, she came here because she cared, but that care also became his weakness. That's just sad, man. And then she opened the gold symbol with her horn, just like in the journey. Another tribute. Nicely done, Game Science. Then, my favorite character in the game, Wukong's brother and our good uncle, Zhu Bajie. Please forgive me, but we won't be talking about him in this chapter. Otherwise, this video would be too long. But I will talk about his story in details in the next chapter because he played a major role in the next chapter. Right now, just know that he was one of the journey game and he and Wukong were pretty close at the end of the journey. And he really cared and respected Wukong as a big brother. That's why he was here helping us. Well, to be honest, not much of a help, but thank you anyway, uncle. Hahaha, the short legs. As for the Turtle General, he came back to fight Yellow Brow along with the Snake General. Yellow Brow used Wukong's relic and caused a massive snowstorm. Even as gods, they were still bound to their animal instinct. Eventually, the Turtle General went to hibernate and the Snake General was killed. All we could see was his remains. We don't know why they fought Yellow Brow. I guess they tried to retrieve Wukong's relic because they were quite close to Wukong. Likewise, the third prince of the kingdom Flowing Sand also came back because he thought Yellow Brow had some evil schemes going on. But you know the rest, he lost and got locked up by Yellow Brow. And his 4 captains were twisted as the monsters they were, serving Yellow Brow. But he had to destroy his senses in order to keep sane. I wonder why didn't his master come and save him? Then this old flopping Long, Chen Long, one of the zodiac deities. He flopped so bad and asked us to get a pill for him from the street dog, otherwise he'll be dead. Which we did, and pay attention to street dog right here, as he picked up the dust from the ground and making a pill, knowing it was for Chen Long. What a friend. Then Chenlong just threw the pill away. Yep, they just knew each other too well. Then Chenlong pulled out a scroll given by Erlang, the secret divinity. The scroll was a very powerful vessel that it had a hidden world inside of it, which was perfect to help us, the destined ones, unnoticed. Inside the the scroll, we had the cook, the pharmacist, Xu Dog. Then the weed planter. Wait, did I say weed? The herbs planter, Chen Long. The bootlegger. The gold upgrader, Shen Monkey. And the arms dealer, the blacksmith, Yin Tiger. All 4 of them were the zodiac deities, and they offered help many times in the journey. There were 12 of them. Originally, they weren't animals, but in the game, clearly Game Science changed a little bit and connected them with the Chinese zodiac animals, which I think is pretty cool and made it easier to remember. Otherwise, it would be very complicated to explain their original meanings. But anyway, back to the 4. In the game, they were closer to Sun Wukong than the others, so they wanted to help. Even though it meant getting cast out by the Celestial Court, they still chose to do it because they really value the friendship with the Great Sage. Knowing their choice, Erlang also offered help as he gave them this precious vessel, the Rui's Scroll. Some good buddies they were, huh? Both Erlang and the 4. By the way, Yin Tiger was my top 3 favorite bosses in the game because his fight was just sick. The moves, man. Then, as we progress in the game, we will meet one of the Yellow Brow's 4 disciples, the non-white, or as in Chinese, Bu Bai. His story was rather tragic. He was an actor of the opera troupe, and his dream was to play the hero role. But all he got was the jester role, the clown, because of his look. He didn't look righteous enough, and the people didn't like him because his face was always painted in white, as the role required. And one day he suggested a role switch, but obviously he got mocked. Then he just beat up the guy who played the hero role and take his role. As you can imagine, people didn't like it, and the owner of the troupe kicked him out. And then he lost it, and he killed the guy who played the hero, flayed his face and put it on his own face. Then this dude went back to the stage to play the hero role. Well, if it was me, I would lose my shit if I saw that. Of course, the audience panicked and started screaming. And in the end, the well-respected monk from the temple, Yellow Brow, took him in as his disciple and asked him to guard his path. And he said to non-white, one day there will be a destined one coming this way. If you can kill him and take his face, you will be the true hero. I kinda like my face, so no thank you. Then this One Punch Man, the non-able, or in Mandarin it was 不能. He was the most genuine monk here at the New Thunderclap Temple, and that was why he was here kneeling in the snow. Yellowbrow punished him and asked him to repent here. But why though? Why was he punished? Well, he said to Yellowbrow, as I may quote, "Master, you have always taken the clever route, which is why it is difficult for you to attain Buddhahood. It seems you can do everything, but in reality, you can do nothing." Yes, he just said that to his master's face. Savage! He disagreed with Yellowbrow's path, and that's why he was punished. Yellowbrow ordered him to have his hands tied on his back to reflect on his faults so that he could stand up free again. But as you can see, countless years passed and he was still kneeling there because he believed his path was right. Through his words, it's easy to guess that his path is to seek strength to fight for the weak. Dude, much respect. Yellowbrow, on the other hand, was a complete faker. Look at the cleanse, look at the move, faker. What was that? Sorry, wrong faker. The reason why I said Yellowbrow was a faker was because clearly he made a light ring for himself on his back as a symbol of Buddha. You know, like this one on the actual Buddha. Clearly Yellowbrow wasn't worthy of it, so he made one for himself to prove that he was a Buddha, as he claimed to be. On the other hand, his disciple, the non-able, had earned the authentic golden body, which meant he was on the right way to attain Buddhahood because of his determination to fight for the weak. Respect, bro. Then another disciple for Yellowbrow, the non-pure, or as in Mandarin, 不净. Well, he was just lazy and slacking off all day. Not much to talk about. Then we met the last disciple, the non-void, or as we say in Mandarin, 不空, on the request of the poor little fox. Now that we know he was the young scholar who killed the little fox in the chapter 2 animation, obviously his conscience was tormented after that and decided to become a monk, hoping to wash away his sin. Even after years of praying, he still couldn't find his peace because he wanted to know, what does the fox say?
What the fox say?
Nah, just kidding. As non-able once debated with him, nonsense. Killing is killing. Brother, the pretense behind justifying killing is the real sin. The non-void was speechless and the two never debated again. Well, at least he felt guilty about it. I'm afraid he'll never rest in peace truly. By the way, there are many tales of fox squires in Chinese mythology, as fox would transform into beautiful women and seduce men, taking their lives and essences. Kinda like a succubus figure. But not this little fox though, she was good. She wanted to be a fox immortal, and it required not taking essences from humans, as she just began her path. And then, you know what happened. She became a scarf. Poor little fox. And now let's talk about the spells we learned in this chapter. The Ring of Fire, a defensive spell which Wukong used in the journey. He drew a ring around Tang Monk and told him to stay in a circle so that the Yaoguais couldn't touch him as he went scout ahead. But of course, the game didn't listen to him and they left the circle and got captured by Yaoguai. But again, story for another time. And then the spellbinder that Maitreya taught us, just like he taught Wukong in the journey, Legacy. Then the guy who guided us here, the green-capped martialist, or as his real name, Yang Xian, the goat of the Main Mountain Brothers, also sent here by Erlang to help us. In a portrait, clearly the Maitreya knew about Erlang's plan. Even more, he was helping the plan, as he offered Erlang a hideout free from the detection of the Celestial Court and the Buddhas, as Erlang was hiding something very important. And we'll talk about their plan in a future chapter. Also, just like what Bajie said, this time in the game, the Maitreya intentionally allowed Yellowbrow to steal his vessels to play out the Celestial Court's plan so that their actual plan can work, you know, to truly help Wukong. Much appreciation, sir. And finally, let's talk about this fake Maitreya, the Yellowbrow. As a member of Mount Lingshan, he didn't agree with the Buddha's doctrine. Unlike the other monks, he believed that the true meaning of life shouldn't be restraining all desires and pursue Dharma, but to embrace the moments of anger, joy, sorrow, etc. because that is just the nature. I can't say I disagree with that, but he was too aggressive, so he never got approved by the other monks. So he became the faker he was, pretended to be a Buddha, taking disciples just to prove that he was right. But his obsession of winning finally turned into the hypocrite he was. He named his 4 major disciples the exact same name of Tang monks. The non-void, in Mandarin it's 不空, as for Wukong. The non-able, 不能, as for Wu Neng, you know, Zhubaji's monk name. Non-pure, 不净, as for Wu Jing. Non-white, 不白, as for the white horse, who is actually the 3rd son of the West Sea Long King, a little white long. As you can see, Yellow Bro was so obsessed of winning, and he did everything he could to prove he was right, with the help of Wukong's relic. But just like his disciple said, he will never attain Buddhahood, because all he did was to fight for himself, you know, to prove that he was right. Goodbye, faker. After beating Yellow Brow, the Maitreya helped us to retrieve Wukong's relic. Man, I wish I could catch a fish like that. Like always, enjoy the animation, guys.
You tarried in the mortal world for a good while, didn't you? Speak clearly.
Once again, I proved it to you, Jinshanzi.
You chose a means to an end, not to a proof. You sow chaos in hearts just for the sake of winning. How absurd and pathetic.
If not for winning, why debate over means and ends?
You've probably wondered who is this monk in the end. It's Tang Monk, Wukong's master. I know. You're probably like, what? Well, it's him, but it's not him. It's a bit complicated. This is Jin Chanzi, the gold cicada, the second disciple of the Buddha. But he was cast out by the Buddha because he too disagreed with the Buddha's doctrine and argued with the Buddha, and that's why he was punished. The Buddha ordered him to live the mortal life 10 times to experience the endless cycles for mortals before he could attain Buddhahood. After 9 miserable lives, in his 10th life, he became the one we all know, the Tang Monk. And I guess this conversation is before he became the Tang Monk. And Yellowbrow really envied Jin Chanzi and wanted to be just like him because he held on to what he believed in, even if it meant to be cast out by the Buddha. And Yellowbrow wanted to be him, but he can never be him. And that's why he was so obsessed of winning and prove he was right. And he even pretended to be Tang Monk, or aka Jin Chanzi. That's why I say he was a hypocrite. He pretended to be Jin Chanzi, but on the other hand, he denied everything Jin Chanzi stood for. Like I said, a genuine faker. And that was the story of chapter 3, White Snow, Ice Cold. Again, sorry about the length of the video. It was a little bit too long, but you know, there were a lot of things to cover. But anyway, I'm Jay the Storyteller, and thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe. It will mean a lot to me. 欲知后事如何，且听下回分解。